Hello and welcome to today's candidates discussion for the Burnaby Edmonds riding. My name is Paul Holden, President and CEO of the Burnaby Board of Trade, and I'm joined today by Tripat Atwal, who's representing the BC Liberals, by Chouhan from BC NDP, and by Iqbal Parekh from the BC Green Party. So thank you all for joining us today, and thank you for offering to serve your community. It's a really important role, and we're very glad that you've stepped up to offer your services in this way. I'd like to start by acknowledging that the event is being held on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, including the Tsleil-Waututh, Musqueam and Squamish nations. I'd also like to briefly thank the Burnaby Board of Trade's annual partners, a great group of organisations who we work with and who support us throughout the year. At the platinum level, we have the Burnaby Now and the BCIT School of Business. At the gold level, we have SFU, Pacific Blue Cross, Douglas College, Fortis BC, Electronic Arts and ABC Recycling. And at the silver level, we have Scotiabank, Trans Mountain, Appia Development, Alexander College and the Port of Vancouver. To kick things off today, I'll just briefly go over the guidelines for the discussion, which the candidates have already received. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to provide opening remarks, and we'll do that in alphabetical order by last name. Candidates are asked not to interrupt the other candidates during these opening statements. During the Q&A period, the questions will come from me, and I'll direct questions to each candidate. Each candidate will get a chance to answer all of the questions, and we'll just rotate so that everybody has a roughly equal number of opportunities to go first. And we're asking candidates to keep their opening comments to 2 minutes and the answers to questions to 1 minute. So we'd like to start with the uninterrupted opening remarks from the candidates, and going in the order that we suggested, we'll start with Tripat Atwal from the BC Liberal Party. Tripat, over to you for a couple of minutes.
Okay. Good afternoon. First of all, I thank Burnaby Board of Trade for organizing all candidates discussion. I'm here to talk about Burnaby Edmonds. Burnaby Edmonds is one of the most ethnically diverse community in BC. I am here to represent all segments of society, including seniors, local businesses, union brothers and sisters, young families, and all members of society alike. I am Tripat Atwal, your BC Liberal candidate. My experience includes teaching, paralegal, real estate, land development, and passion for humanity. My immense drive to be better today than yesterday. In addition, I'm currently taking business management, environmental management, OHS management, and food safety management, auditing related courses. Let me tell you why I have decided to be part of BC Liberal team. My personal values and ethics align with BC Liberal Party's ideology that includes free enterprise, compassion, climate change, and sustainable development. I am very excited to be a part of this process. I'm a single mother of teenage daughter. I have faced the challenges of raising my daughter over the years, and I understand similar challenges faced by us individually, business, and family-wise. However, over the last 15 years, under NDP regime, Burnaby Edmonds has been ignored in triggering initiative for betterment of its citizens. I pledge to you that as your future MLA for Burnaby Edmonds, I will tirelessly work to raise the caliber of Burnaby Edmonds and make a positive change in the lives of its constituents. So I ask for your support on October 24th, and I promise I will bring more prosperity and enhance safety for families to live, work, and play.
Thank you, Tripat. Next up, we have Chouhan. A couple of minutes for you, Raj.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. I'm very happy that Burnaby Board of Trade has organized this forum for us to share our views and thoughts so we can speak with our constituents in Burnaby. I also would like to recognize that we are on the traditional territory of Squamish, Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coast Salish people. We are very thankful for this opportunity to speak from these territories. Paul, as you have seen me in action in Burnaby for the last 15 years, serving people at all levels. What we have seen when the Liberals got first elected in 2001, They ignored Burnaby at every level. They promised new Burnaby Hospital every time the election hit us, but then they ignored us. And so on housing, on homelessness, liberals did do nothing. The most diverse community in Canada, we have, we have suffered a lot under 16 years of BC Liberal regime. Since 2017, in quick, short 3 years, I and my colleagues were able to secure $1.3 billion for Burnaby Hospital, which was unprecedented. Liberals never did it. We got $77 million for childcare in Burnaby. The Liberals never did it. We got hundreds of millions of dollars for affordable housing in Burnaby now in the last short 3 years. So my passion is that, I continue to work with Burnaby Edmonds constituents, helping them, and my doors are always open. I'm accessible. They know where to contact me. I'm looking forward to have another honor and their support on October 24th to continue to represent them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Raj. And let's move to Iqbal. Iqbal, you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to the people here in Burnaby. And also I would like to say that we are here on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish peoples. And I feel honored that we are allowed to be here and to be on this shared territory. In terms of what the Greens propose for Burnaby Edmonds, we are, as you know, a newer party. We are still in the process of getting things organized, yet we feel very passionate about what needs to be taking place here in Burnaby. Issues such as affordable housing, the issue with the toxic supply of illegal drugs is a big issue for us, and of course, supporting small business. So that is essentially what we are basing our campaign on, and we're here to let the small businesses know that our support is behind them. We understand the challenges that they're going through at this time, especially during a pandemic, and we want to work across party lines. We are not here to point fingers. We want to work together and make Burnaby Edmonds a better place for all citizens. I've been a longtime resident of Burnaby Edmonds. I've seen it change up and down. And I think in the last 3 years, we have to give some credit to the current government. But also it's important to keep in mind that a lot of the things that happened was because of the support they received from the BC Greens.
Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you, for your opening comments and for all sticking to the 2 minutes. Much appreciated. Let's get going with the questions now then. And the first question, what I'll do is I'll just go in order as I see you on my screen, and then we'll rotate who goes first as we go through the questions. So the first question is going to be, first of all, to Raj, and then we'll invite Iqbal and Tripat to answer as well. The first question is with regards to COVID-19 policy. Obviously, this year has represented unprecedented challenges for our local business community because of the economic fallout of the COVID pandemic and the related business closures and curtailments. The impact was quick and it was significant. The next government will need to manage the ongoing pandemic while sustaining our small business community and eventually bolstering consumer confidence. What's your plan for doing this, and how will you support Burnaby businesses through the next months and coming years? Raj, we'll start with you for 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Paul. Until COVID-19 hit us, our economy was booming. We had policies working for our economy to stay stronger. For the last 15 years, since I have become MLA here, I have seen firsthand the Liberals ignored totally the small businesses here, not only in Burnaby, but throughout the British Columbia. When COVID-19 hit us, it created unprecedented challenges for all of us. But instead of panicking, under the leadership of John Horgan and Adrian Dix, our Minister of Health, and Dr. Bonnie Henry, we were able to focus on helping people, help protecting our individual residents in BC. By doing that, we also brought policies to help businesses and consumer confidence. So, for example, we have unprecedented $8 billion investment to support people and kickstart our economy, a PST rebate on machinery and equipment so people can invest in their business, 15% tax credit for hiring new employees to create 200,000 more jobs. That's what we are doing. We are hiring more employees in healthcare, in other industry and sectors to make sure that the small businesses are taken care of and they have the resources to continue to be successful.
Thank you, Raj. We'll move to Iqbal next, if we can.
With regards to the COVID-19 situation, I really believe we need to make really deliberate and strategic choices in how we're going to navigate through this pandemic. Having said that, I believe there are opportunities within this as well. And I think that's where we should be focusing on, looking for those opportunities, again, working with our colleagues across party lines and making sure that the citizens are taken care of. There's lots of issues we can talk about, but essentially what we need to figure out and what we need to know is what our citizens, residents here in Burnaby Edmonds require the most, and then put in place a mechanism that prioritizes those issues. I think, things like helping small business owners through the winter, subsidizing their rent payments, perhaps a grant for those facing those in the rental market who are unable to make their rental payments, and a better quality of care for seniors in the seniors' homes, and supporting young families and with affordable childcare, and a green recovery from the COVID-19 with a kind of ambitious climate plan at its core.
Thank you, Iqbal. I think we'll come to some of those points as we move through the questions, but thank you for that. And Tripat, over to you for a minute, please.
Yes, thank you, Paul. As my party leader, Mr. Andrews, said, this is a wartime. And during this snap election, if we talk about COVID, global pandemic, we all are suffering from that. I would like to tell you about COVID. My party, BC Liberal, aims to put money back into people's pockets with elimination of PST for first year and 3% for the second year. This will also help small businesses today, opening by stimulating growth and create more jobs. The family that would get, let's say, $1,000 payment under the NDP plan, we would now save over $1,700 in the first year of our PST elimination plan. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit low-income families harder than most and has made affordable childcare even more difficult. BC Liberal Party is committed to providing $10 per day childcare so that parents have an opportunity to be employable if they can find a job in this current climate. We will expand access to before and after school care in schools and create incentives for employers to support childcare options for their employees. So basically, on the whole, our focus will be to prevent spread of COVID by continuing the existing recommendations from BC CDC, Center for Disease Control.
Thank you, Tripat. Thank you. And the next question is on taxation. I'm going to start with Iqbal and then go to Tripat and then Raj. The employer health tax is a net new cost for businesses. Currently, it applies to businesses with $500,000 in payroll, which might be just 8 or 9 employees, meaning that many small businesses have had to pay this tax. What is your position on the employer health tax in general? And would you consider extending the payroll exemption threshold from $500,000 to 1.5 million to remove more small businesses from this tax? Iqbal, we'll start with you, please.
Thank you, Paul. I think that question is very relevant. I think it makes a lot of sense. And my feeling is that, yes, we would look to extending it to 1.5 million, simply because we know the pressure that small business is under. We understand how difficult it is not only to make rent payments, but to make payroll. And then on top of that, having an additional health tax, I think is not fair and not sustainable. If we can't eliminate it or extend it, I think there needs to be some kind of a grant or a rebate, a tax rebate for those businesses that do have just a few employees. Again, it's just not sustainable. We can see now here throughout the Lower Mainland, so many empty retail stores with vacancy signs, and that's very telling.
Thank you, Iqbal. Tripat, can we come to you?
So regarding taxation, employer tax, as per the party platform we will appoint independent Fair Tax Commission to review all provincial taxes, including the NDP's 23 different new or increased taxes. We understand that businesses are suffering, and BC Liberal Party is committed to the help people in these uncertain times. We will explore other tax reliefs such as small businesses, tax cut, PST, investing infrastructure. Small businesses have been hammered by the NDP's tax hikes. Business confidence is down, and we have seen record unemployment. Back in March, all parties came together to approve a 5 billion aid package to deal with the pandemic. 1.5 billion of which was set aside to provide assistance to small businesses. But instead of getting that money to struggling small businesses who were working hard to keep their doors open, that money was never dispensed. As small business owners were closing their...
Sorry, thank you, Tripat. Thank you. Raj, your turn.
Thank you, Paul. As you know, you and I have talked about this a couple of times in the last few years about employers' health tax. But let me first answer or at least comment on what Mr. Atwal has said. She's talking about 23 new taxes that imposed by NDP, which is the biggest lie. You know, like you just name one. Give me one example where NDP has imposed any tax on small business. In fact, what we have done, when we first formed the government, we cut the small business tax rate, and it's now the second lowest in the country. That's what we have done. I understand Ms. Atwal may not know everything about Burnaby because she's coming here from Surrey. That's okay. We welcome her. That's fine. However, the fact is, as we all know, that the 96% of revenue comes from the largest 5% of the employers, because we had to eliminate MSP, the most regressive tax that Liberals imposed on British Columbians. By doing that, we put $1,800 money back in the family's pocket every year. So that's why we had to bring this employer's health tax, but it's impacting the top 5% of the big businesses.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you. Another question, we'll just keep the questions going as in this order, if we may. Another question on taxation. One of the top concerns of the Burnaby business community prior to COVID-19 was the burden of soaring property taxes, which are driven by highest and best use, where the value of a property is based on its redevelopment potential, not on what it's currently being used for. What is your take on highest and best use, and will your party commit to implementing solutions such as a split assessment, which would save local businesses significantly on their property tax bills? And Tripat, we'll start with you.
Property taxes. BC Liberals will deliver an 8 billion infrastructure plan that will build more schools, hospitals, transit, and roads in every part of province. This is a complex issue where value of property is based on redevelopment potential rather than the current use. This need to be reviewed to maintain sustainable economy. BC Liberal Party will appoint independent Fair Tax Commission to review all provincial taxes, and we can help with that for small businesses and big businesses.
Thank you. Raj.
Well, this is a big challenge for small businesses, undoubtedly. Before COVID, we pulled together an interim fix that would have provided immediate relief for the 2020 tax year. It was ready to go, and we were talking to a number of municipalities interested to use it. Then COVID-19 changed everything, and everyone pivoted to supporting businesses through the pandemic. Our interim fix will be available for municipalities to use next year, and we are going to continue to work urgently on a permanent solution. The BC Liberals created the problem. They heard concerns for 10 years, and yet they did nothing to fix it. Our interim fix was the only viable option to provide immediate relief in 2020. Before COVID-19, we had a choice: do nothing for 2020 or bring an interim solution while we work on permanent fix. And that's what we did, Paul. That's what we are focused on, and we will continue to help our small businesses here in Burnaby and in British Columbia.
Thank you, Raj. And over to you finally, Iqbal, for a minute.
Yes, I think that's a very important question, and also, again, another very relevant one. I think if you extrapolate it into the future, given the current taxation scheme, you will just end up seeing more and more empty spaces. The way the system is set up for highest and best use, it may have made sense when you look at it through a developer's lens, but when you look at it from the business owners, and I know the question was about taxation with regards to local businesses, but I think it also applies much broader in terms of residents who own real estate in BC, where they're also being taxed on the future potential values of development. And I think that's unjust. What we need to do is something, as Paul mentioned, about having a kind of a split assessment makes a lot of sense. I think we need to go deeper and see where and how we can assist our small business owners, but at the same time not deplete our tax base.
Thank you, Iqbal. Okay, we're on to the fourth question now, and we'll start with you on this one, Raj. And it's with regards to climate change. To make environmental options less costly for businesses to adopt, do you support offering a more significant incentives to encourage businesses to improve their sustainability of their operations? And will you support making those incentives and supports more upfront and immediate in nature, as opposed to making businesses wait for rebates, reimbursements, or savings down the road? Raj, a minute for you, please.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's a really good question. As we, under the COVID-19, we have continued to work with small businesses and larger businesses and individuals to make sure that they have all the resources to get over with this challenge. This climate crisis is a global challenge. It's here. We see more fires and other natural disasters. We owe it to our next generation to do our part. So what we have done, we have developed a Clean BC, which is the most ambitious climate plan on the continent, recognized by all experts. We work closely with Dr. Andrew Weaver to develop this comprehensive plan. We have passed the Climate Change Accountability Act, increasing carbon price rebates for low and middle income families, rebate for electric vehicles. We are funding schools and hospitals and universities to reduce energy consumption. We will pass the legislation to achieve net zero emission by 2050. On the other hand, the Liberals, when they were in power, they convened a climate leadership panel and then ignored nearly all of their recommendations. They abandoned action on climate pollution, but we will make sure that we have a clean BC implemented here in British Columbia to have a better future.
Thank you, Raj. Iqbal? Excuse me, over to you, Iqbal.
Thank you so much. And just to go back to Raj's point with Dr. Andrew Weaver, I'd like to put it on the record that it was with the help of the BC Greens that this climate program was put into place. I think in terms of climate change, to me, it seems that the BC Green Party has the only relevant and logical solution to the climate crisis. We are committed to becoming net zero. We are very much focused on that, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the small businesses are supported and looking for ways that we can go into the future building on green and sustainable technologies. I think what the other my other colleagues here are talking about are industries that kind of have had their time, and we need to look into the future.
Well, thank you. And Tripat, over to you, please.
Regarding climate change policy, we have our own, my party, BC Liberal government, will re-establish BC as a global climate leader. We will create more jobs and reduce energy costs for British Columbians. BC Liberal Party endorses climate sustainability practices, and we believe in preparing the province to maintain its competitive edge while employing sustainable development strategies. So we will work on expanding public transit options. We will reduce the impact of climate-related disasters. We will create more jobs and reduce energy costs of British Columbians by encouraging the retrofitting of homes and businesses. We will work with municipalities and businesses. We will support investments in renewable energy and next generation clean energy and technology solutions we will provide, yes. And yes, Mr. Chouhan said that they don't, like BC Liberals did not do that, but we say we cannot trust NDP. NDP changed their stand on LNG, pipelines and other projects. So we will try to rebuild confidence and rebuild BC.
Thank you. Now we come on to the subject of childcare. And I think we're going to start with you on this one, Iqbal. The Burnaby Board of Trade believes accessible childcare is pivotal to some workers being able to return to their jobs and full productivity during COVID-19, but also as a longer term strategy to increase the participation rate of women in the workforce. Could you speak to how you view the role of childcare in our economy and what your plans are for making childcare more available and affordable? Iqbal.
Thank you. That's one of the most pressing issues that we face here is affordable childcare. The BC Greens propose a very comprehensive childcare program where not only is it affordable, but it's accessible. It has, as you know, because people are working different hours in the day, sometimes daycare is not available for certain families at the times when the families need it. So we will work towards that. We will also, we're going to be proposing that the families are able to realize their prosperity potential. And I think having childcare is one of the foundations in that, because without that, we don't have the ability for folks to go to work.
Thank you, Iqbal. Tripat, can we move to you?
Yes, regarding childcare, we have a support system because me being a single mother as well, when I think about women, women abuse, women as assistant and victims and women businesses, how they can go out, how they can be helped. I've personally faced that challenges. So for support system, my party and me, we can provide, we have a platform with $10 per day so that mothers that they have their programs, they understand the PST elimination my party has provided. This would allow women to participate in workforce and contribute in workforce, like contribute to household prosperity and provide equal access to opportunities. This gives their high self-esteem and feeling of self-worth, so that during this global pandemic situation, they can have help from us, from my government and my platform. They can go out and work.
Thank you, Tripat. Raj, can we come to you?
Thank you very much, Paul. Again, it's a very important subject that we need to discuss. We've been waiting for 16 years of the BC Liberals regime to talk about childcare, helping families, young mothers, single mothers. Nothing was provided in those 16 years. In the last 3 years, we were able to move quickly. Our minister responsible for childcare established all the necessary steps to make sure that we have in place to provide childcare spaces, and we moved at a really fastest pace in the province history. We have funded 20,000 new childcare spaces in just 2 years. More than 32,000 families in BC are now receiving childcare for $10 a day or less, saving up to $1,600 a month per child, and we are creating more than 700 new spaces every month. The Liberals ignored the needs of BC families. They have been, criticizing us that our plan, a reduction of program, was very expensive. If you look at in the reality what Andrew Wilkinson is telling us, we really cannot afford Andrew Wilkinson and his policies on this subject and the subject to revive our economy.
Thank you, Raj. Coming now to the penultimate question, which is on the subject of transportation, and we'll start with you, Tripat, on this one, and then move around the group. So a key benefit that we all know of businesses locating here in Burnaby is our central location in the region and our proximity to key transportation and transit infrastructure. What do you think are the key transportation challenges in our region, and what investments in infrastructure need to be made to ensure we can continue to move people, goods, and services through Burnaby and across Metro Vancouver? So Tripat, if I could come to you first.
Yes, a key benefit to locating a business in Burnaby, transportation and transit infrastructure, traffic jam, too much travel time, air pollution, loss of opportunities, and continue infrastructure projects like BC Liberals have done. SkyTrains, new bridges. We believe in moving people, moving goods, services.
Thank you, Tripat. We'll come to you, Raj.
Thank you. Paul, again, infrastructure, transportation is absolutely fundamental to our successful economy in British Columbia. We are improving roads, bridges, and transit so people can get back to their homes faster and more safely. We have eliminated tolls on Portman Bridge and Golden Ear bridges, saving drivers up to $1,500 per year. That is the Liberal legacy. That's Andrew Wilkinson legacy, punishing small businesses, skilled workers who have to go back and forth to do their business. We boosted investment in transit to build both the Broadway and Surrey SkyTrain lines and increase bus services throughout our communities. We are building badly needed infrastructure like replacing the Ptolo Bridge and making improvements to highway across the province. Our recovery investment fund will add $3 billion each year to improve infrastructure throughout the province. We will make transit throughout the province free for kids and up to and including age 12. So it's an important question, and we need to do a lot more work on this.
Thank you, Raj. And Iqbal, over to you.
Thank you very much, Paul. I think for a long time, both the NDP and the BC and the Liberals of BC have been using transportation as a political football, and we have some very good examples on that. Well, first of all, as Raj mentioned about the Portman Bridge, the NDP had, of course, reduced the toll on that. But then again, when the Massey Tunnel was proposed, they canceled that. Now, without any real effective reasoning or justification. And that shows to me that both those parties are using this as just to either gain votes or lose votes. I'm not sure which one. The Greens are focused on zero emission vehicles. We know that 40% of greenhouse gases in BC come from the transportation sector. We want to focus and take early action on the ZEV mandate by accelerating it to 100% for non-commercial vehicle sales by 2035 and making ZEV ownership more accessible.
Thank you, Iqbal. And we'll come to the final question now, and I'm going to start with Raj on this one. The Burnaby Board of Trade has at its core the mantra of always trying to find a way to yes. And something that we've noticed as a hallmark of the response to COVID-19 by all levels of government has been what you might call an orientation to yes, which is in a sense a newfound willingness to act on files long considered dormant or to get new programs launched quickly, such as allowing restaurants to expand patios and liquor service or rolling out significant new funding and support programs in record time. Could you comment on this? And do you think this should be a model for how government can be more responsive and nimble in the future? Raj, I'll start with you, please.
Thank you, Paul. Again, we are under really difficult circumstances. COVID-19 has created these challenges for all industries, especially for the restaurant industry, hospitality industry, so much. It has impacted our tourism. It has impacted everybody. What we have done, we took some immediate actions to assist the restaurant industry to allow them to have patios expansion, and also to allow them to have to buy liquor at the same rate as the wholesale price, so they can save lots of money with that. I'm working very closely with my friends in the tourism Burnaby to make sure that they get all the tools, all the information they need to restart that industry. It's absolutely essential. But in order to get there, we must listen to science and Dr. Bonnie Henry's. We need to be guided by that to make sure everybody is healthy. If our citizens are healthy, then they will be able to go out and participate in our businesses and economy, and we have to help the businesses to make sure that people have the jobs that they need to go back to. So I really want to say thank you for everybody who is taking care of this whole industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Iqbal, can we come to you next?
Paul, could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, we were talking about, I'll just pause for a moment. We were talking about the fact that we've seen governments reacting quickly and nimbly during this process to provide either new programs such as the expanded patios or liquor service that we just spoke about, or rolling out new funding and support programs in record time. We're just looking to see if you can comment on this, and do you think that this should be a new model for how governments can be more responsive and nimble in the future?
Thank you. I think this global pandemic has forced governments to think differently and become more nimble. Perhaps that's a blessing in disguise. Our feeling is we need to always look for new solutions. We're entering a new paradigm now. What worked in the past will not work in the future, and just sitting on our laurels and hoping for the best is not going to work. We believe we need to take very bold and dramatic action to make sure that our residents of BC are not only okay in the near future, but going into the long term. And I think there are many solutions that can be developed, but they need to be looked at on a case-by-case basis and seeing what's best for our people here in BC Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Thank you, Iqbal. And to round things off, Tripat, can we come to you next?
Yes, regarding regulations, I would like to pass on my comments. Regulations change COVID include flexibility in allowing restaurants offering while respecting CDC guidelines, social distance, masks, and personal hygiene. More options to explore service option. Allow flexibility to restaurants and bars. Be flexible for small restaurants from CDC again. As small business owners were closing their doors, it turns out John Horgan's mind was instead focused on a risky, unnecessary election. We think that's wrong, and we think small businesses deserve better. They represent the best of British Columbia and are the backbone of our communities and provincial economy. Small businesses make up 98% of all business here in British Columbia and employ over 1 million people. They need our support now more than ever. A BC Liberal government will immediately eliminate the 2% small business income tax rate in its entirety. Eliminating the small business tax will have a broad and profound economic impact that will generate jobs and opportunities for a wide range of British Columbians.
Thank you, Tripat, and thank you to all of you. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us today and to provide such thoughtful responses to the important questions that we wanted to raise with you. So thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you all luck in the upcoming election. And thank you again for offering your services to serve your community. It's a very important role and one that's very much appreciated. And I'd encourage everybody watching this to remember to register to vote and cast your vote either by mail, in the advanced voting, or on the day itself of Saturday, October the 24th. Another important event that's coming up is next week. It's Small Business Week. So please check bbot.ca and you'll see that we have a range of events aimed at the small business group for next week, and they're free events to join. And also on the 5th of November, Thursday lunchtime, we have our annual Business Excellence Awards. Unfortunately, we can't get the 400 people in a room that we have traditionally managed to do, but be sure to sign up on the website so you can watch the live presentation of this year's finalists, as well as the induction of the Burnaby Business Hall of Fame 2020 inductee. So thanks again to everybody for coming here today. We do appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of the campaign.